Hello, welcome back to part 2 of our museum tour. As we continue to the right of the display on the Native Americans and Gaudi's trading post, we come to the mannequin of an African American man dressed in white linen shirt and knee breeches with a straw hat. Next to him is a mannequin of an African American woman in a white shift with an off-white linen apron and white cap. The sign in front of these mannequins reads, African Americans at 96. African Americans played an important role in the settlement and development of the 18th century backcountry South Carolina. During the 1760s and 1770s, European immigrants often brought hundreds of slaves on the 2-week journey from the coast to the rugged 96 wilderness. Some local African Americans were expert brick makers, farmers, wagoners, and cattle drivers, while others were instrumental in assisting in the construction of the Star Fort. Many slaves were involved in the cultivation and processing of indigo, a dye extracted from the plant grown on Robert Gaudi's plantation. Like any other settler, African Americans had to adapt to life on the frontier. Slaves lived in meager wooden or log houses and often cultivated their own small gardens. Many slaves maintained portions of their African culture, as verified by the bowl displayed in the exhibit case. It was found here by archaeologists and was made of local clay. This type of pottery was common in coastal West Africa. As we continue around the room, we come to a display case titled Settlers and Agriculture. On the left are 2 maps, one showing the route of the Great Wagon Road from Philadelphia through York, Hagerstown, Winchester, Charlotte, 96, and ending in Augusta. The other shows the Wagon Road and the Charleston Road in South Carolina. The Charleston Road goes from Charlestown through Columbia, 96, London Borough, and ends in New Bordeaux. The text under the map says, by 1740, numbers of permanent settlers began arriving. Many were Scotch-Irish, hardy, independent, staunchly Presbyterian, who traveled the Great Wagon Road from Pennsylvania and Virginia. Through Charleston came a large group of Huguenots, French Protestants, settled in nearby New Bordeaux Township. German settlers, Lutherans, and German Reformed Church members settled in London Borough. Religion played a large part in their lives. It also separated the various communities. All faced a similar problem: finding shelter. The first crude log huts gave way to sturdy timber houses and to frame buildings. They made most of the things they needed: clothing, furniture, eating utensils, and the like. To the right is a drawing of a woman sitting on a bench cutting something into a pot. Next is a drawing of an interior cabin scene with a colonial family doing chores by the firelight. The man works at a table. The woman is at her spinning wheel, and a girl stirs a pot by the hearth. A toddler plays on the floor. Underneath the home scene, the text reads, although a few settlers were large planters, the majority were small farmers whose holdings averaged 175 acres. They planted wheat, corn, rye, barley, flax, hemp, and peach trees. They raised cattle and hogs. They found a ready market in Charleston for their surplus crops, cattle, and hogs, and for rye whiskey and peach brandy. As they prospered, they could afford luxury items. They could now afford to purchase goods from gouty. Wooden buttons were supplanted by pewter and copper. The final drawing is of a man plowing a field. As we move into the artifact case, we see the drawing of the exterior of a log cabin with the stone fireplace. In front of the drawing are the following artifacts: a white with blue shell-edged reconstructed platter, a bone-handled two-pronged fork and knife, bone buttons, which were often handmade, half of a white cream-colored reconstructed dinner plate, a small reconstructed green with blue base and lipped pitcher, a reconstructed tankard missing its handle, an ivory toothbrush handle, and the reconstructed slave-made earthen bowl, which was mentioned earlier. Items which settlers brought to the 96th frontier or bought from gouty. In the other half of the case are pipe stems and pipe bowls, and 2 handmade bricks from the jail with animal paw prints in them. Toward the front, a sign reads, "Many settlers grew flax to make their own linen cloth." It was a long, difficult task. Above the sign are materials for preparing flax to make linen, including flax seeds, a small bundle of the plant, and ready to spin fine flax. Artifacts include a wooden swingling knife that was used to beat the tough husk from the fiber, and a flax hackle on a wooden board that was used for combing the fibers. Behind the hackle are images of numbered steps to prepare flax. 1. A man uses a flax brake to break the tough husk of the plant. 2. He holds a bundle of flax over an upright board and beats it with the wooden knife to strip away the husk. 3. A woman sits at a table, pulling the coarse flax through the teeth of the hackle to comb out the fine fibers. And 4. She sits at a spinning wheel, spinning the fine flax into thread or yarn that could be woven into cloth on a loom. Don't forget to join us next time for Section 3 of our museum tour.